We have to remember this is very painful for children who visit their grandparents, aunts, and uncles. But those older people, a paper that the Chinese group published um, suggested that the disease was much more mild in children from, say, the age of 1 year on up, but perhaps more severe than we anticipated in patients who were infants and children who were less than a year. So that influences perhaps planning on how to deal with babies who might be infected with COVID-19, anticipating that they may be more sick than we thought before, but also the idea that children who are a little bit older than that can be very asymptomatic, can have minor symptoms or even be very asymptomatic is important because that suggests that children may be able to transmit the virus even when they have no symptoms at all. So I think that really reinforces the idea that all of the social distancing and precautions that we're all taking need to be applied to children as well as adults, and particularly to well-appearing children. I think it's not surprising that this virus may more severely affect infants because many infections affect infants more severely than they do adults. Why children are sort of relatively protected from the more severe aspects of disease, that also, that is not known. Some people have speculated that the children don't have as many receptors that the virus uses to enter the cell. Other people have speculated that some of the children may have some immunity due to the exposure they have to other viruses. COVID-19 virus, SARS-CoV-19, is not the only coronavirus that's out there. Many of the cases of the common cold that we see are also due to other coronaviruses, and it's possible that some immunity to those other coronaviruses could help those young children in fighting COVID-19 and making it less severe. But those are all just hypotheses. We don't know for sure. I think people need to follow the public health authorities' recommendations for social distancing for children as well as for adults. We have to remember this is very painful for children who visit their grandparents, aunts, and uncles, but those older people who are at much higher risk for serious complications from the disease could be infected by their grandchildren who have an inapparent or mild case of the disease. I think that's hard, but I think we should try to decrease that as much as we can. Certainly try to decrease it, decrease playing in large groups. Children have siblings. I think, playing with their siblings is fine. They're going to be exposed within the household, but large birthday parties, play groups, things like that. I think for the time being, at least, we need to try to get away from those kinds of things. And I think the first thing to do would be for the parents to contact their pediatrician or other care provider. The last thing that we want is for many patients to descend on emergency rooms. The emergency rooms need to keep their capacity for the patients who really need it. And there almost certainly will be COVID-19 patients who are, if you don't have a serious infection right now, and if you don't have a COVID-19 infection, going to an emergency room when you don't need to go to the emergency room could place you and your family at risk. So if you need to go, of course you need to go. But if you're just worried, if you have mild symptoms, I think the first thing to do would be to consult your pediatrician or other healthcare provider.